Welcome to Talk Formula One. Latest Grand Prix news, latest race. It was just absolutely amazing. Episode 3. Who would imagine Ferrari 1-2? Who could possibly have imagined the Ferrari 1-2? Third race, the calendar. And on top of that, who could imagine? No one other than Carlos to be the man to take the lead, to win the championship. I mean, now I think we have to recognize the rather unfortunate event that happened to our friend Max. Initially, it looked like an engine blowout, but clearly wasn't an engine blowout. It was a brake seizure. It was that bad that they literally caught fire. So there you go. I mean, I think it's fair to say that even before that happened, Max was being put under a lot of pressure. So the race will appear to take a new turn, regardless. But, what happened. So well done to the two Ferrari boys. Now saying that, I've got to be really worried for now Leclerc because I watched his body language, after the Carlos win. And in my opinion, they were less than sincere. I believe he wished that he was the one that took the crown of the day. But unfortunately for him, it wasn't Carlos. It was Carlos. Leclerc is a good racer. I really don't know what to think about him yet. Sometimes he's on the high, sometimes he's on the low. One thing he lacks is consistency, and I think everybody needs to agree with that. And in fact, not just him, Carlos himself has been in fact, the two Ferrari boys have been very, very inconsistent. And what Sunday's race made clear to everyone is maybe they do need a Sir Lewis in that car, because that car does seem to have, what it takes to compete. So again, well done to Carlos. 2024, I think to me, is going to be almost like a 3-horse race. Firmly in number 1 position will be Red Bull. Number 2 is arguable. Initially, my mind would have been on Mercedes, but the way things are going, I'm beginning to think that the McLarens could, actually, before we go to the McLaren, I think it'll be fair to say it may be the Ferraris that will be firmly in position 2. And position 3, to complete the list of the 3-horse race, may in fact not be Mercedes. It could be the McLaren. Lando has been terrific. He has been consistent. The car will appear to be fast, will appear to have very good low-end torque and high speed and cornering. That is an unusual combination for a car, to have both low-end torque and very high speed power, which we saw in the last race, because Lewis Hamilton pretty much had no chance against the assault of Lando Norris. So yes, it was an interesting race. I think I mildly enjoyed it. I wouldn't quite say fully enjoyed it yet. So Lewis Hamilton, where are you? What happened? I was full of excitement. Qualifying was an absolute mess. He didn't have any confidence in the car. I didn't have any confidence in the car. I was just at a complete loss what the heck was going on with that car. In fact, I truly debated watching the race, which I did. And I think what I found most interesting about the performance of Lewis Hamilton during that race was, surprisingly, it was not like quali. He seemed to have the pace. He seems to have the grip. He seems to be on the attack. everything was going not according to plan, because the plan was that it would not be performing. Everything was going rather as I certainly didn't expect. And things took an unusual turn that I certainly did not expect as well. An engine blowout. An engine blowout at the most crucial time when it was mounting a very, very strong challenge. And it was, I mean, the pace Lewis Hamilton was showing was clear to me that he was going to be moving up along the field and may in fact be heading for the podium. I was beginning to feel that level of excitement. And then suddenly, boom, engine blowout. Very nice. So we had the first DNF from Mercedes, and lo and behold, I was sat on the sofa, holding my head, thinking, you couldn't have made this up. Another Mercedes engine blowout, just as when Lewis appeared to be, making some progress. Anyway, so with Lewis out of the way, the focus was on George Russell. Now, George Russell, again, for me, it was a reasonably muted performance from him. And how did the race end? He was chasing Alonso. In fact, if we were to rewind just a few minutes, if we were to be a four-horse race, maybe we'll be putting the Alpine in that mix. So Mercedes really need to be careful, I guess. They're definitely not going to get constructors. They're most likely not going to get runner-up to constructors. They may not even get number 3. And that will be the legacy of Toto Wolff, the man that blew it all. Going back to George Russell. I mean, and of course we've got to talk about Grandpa Alonso in the same breath. Now, if I were George, I would have taken a leaf out of Sir Lewis's script. He always approaches Alonso with a lot of caution. Alonso is an extremely good driver. He's an extremely desperate driver. He's not the driver that hands an overtake to you on a plate. Now, initially when I looked at that crash, and I really didn't have a lot to think about. And then when I looked at the post-race interview, George Russell clearly putting the blame on Alonso. I thought, here we go again. Why do you want to blame Alonso for that? But then on reflection, I looked at that thing again. That was clearly before the verdict of the stewards. Alonso is an extremely desperate racer. You know what unfolded there at the very, very final lap of the race was Alonso luring George Russell, an inexperienced George Russell, into a desperate last-minute trap. I actually take the view that Alonso took him out because he capitalized on his inexperience. Now, it was clearly firmly behind Alonso, positioning for the auto overtake. Alonso lured him into a trap. As they approached the corner at top speed, your expectation would be this: if you threw all caution to the wind, you'll be gunning your engine thinking, this is my chance, I'm going to nail him there. He'll be gunning his engine. He'll be deploying his curse to avoid the overtake. What did Alonso do? He did the opposite of that. He lifted up. He reduced his speed. George Russell, realizing, getting an oh my God moment, this guy has lifted off. He had nowhere to go. He was committed for an aggressive attack. He couldn't hit his brake. If he hits his brake, he'll lose so much momentum, he'll probably lose the car. Do you know what? It would have been easy actually if he hit his brake, aborted the overtake, and wait perhaps for another chance, which may not come. But he thought it was wise. He changed the trajectory of the car to basically complete the overtake on the other side of Alonso. But of course, doing that, he must have under-rotated at least one wheel. Sent the car into a slide. That's all you need to do. Alonso backed off. You are gone in. If you're smart, you hit your brake, you avoid the overtake, you let him go, you mount on the challenge. No, he did a steering offset to get from behind Alonso. In doing that, all you need is to tilt the car a few degrees to one side. It unloads one tire or two tires, applying the same rotational force on rear wheel. What's going to happen? You're going to lose traction on the unloaded wheel. Once you lose traction on the unloaded wheel, what happens? The car slides. If you try to put in correction again, if your foot is not off the gas, you're going to slide in the opposite direction. It's all physics. So he might have missed very fundamental lessons in physics whilst he was in uni, if he at all went to university. Because driving is both reflexes, common sense, and science. The car is limited by science, aerodynamics, and as a good driver, you need to be aware of that. He allowed himself to be lured into a trap. Frankly speaking, Alonso took him out, which he, in my opinion, was unfairly penalized for. Because according to him, it was very hard but fair racing. Yes, it is hard and fair racing. If we rewound and go back to the race before now, when Lando Norris moved twice to avoid a Lewis overtake, he got black and white flagged for that. He was happy to deal with the black and white flag to prevent the overtake. But the opposite of that is this. If Lewis was not a cautious driver, when he did the double weave in front of Lewis, that's Lewis been taken out. So they all do it. So what Alonso did by deliberately luring the car under full throttle into the overtake zone and then easing off his gas, in my book, is legitimate hard racing. So I believe he was fairly penalized. Anyway, enough said. First exciting race of the season. Hopefully we'll get more. Let's say your comments. And of course, I may be wrong. This is my perspective. And well, actually, before I go, you might have spotted the Ferrari shirt. So it is fair to say that we are possibly in a transition period whereby all our Mercedes kit will be going straight into the skip to be trashed. Again, welcome to Talk from the One. Happy to hear your views. Happy to hear, especially that I got it absolutely wrong. Or to hear that, yes, you know what, maybe you do have a point. Thanks for watching. See you next time.